our demonstration, we will try to make some simple bot in our regular platform, just a conversational platform. So you cannot make this bot together with me because this platform is now not open. But I will deploy it later in the channel of Alice from Yandex, if you know what it is. So if you want to try the bot we will make now, so you should just download and install Alice Yandex application to your phone. So let's start. As Dasha said before, our regular platform is based on the state machine. So if you look at our scenario file, you will see that exactly this state for this state machine. But firstly, I would like to speak about the content of bot because in our bot it will be very important. So we will be doing the bot with the name Очень Пельмень. It is a variation of Очень Cookie. So it will be Пельмень with some prediction. And after the user comes into the chat with our skill in Alice, we will give to him some pельмень with some prediction for the day or for the moment. I don't know what everybody interprets as he wants. So for this bot, we need to have some predictions actually, and there are two ways how we can get them. First of all, we can use some external services as we did it before in the first part of our demonstration, when we did some bot on AgriLogic platform. And the second variant is just make it with some local databases. And actually it will be the second variant. And it will be in the same format as it was with the city on in the first bot on AgriLogic. So I can show you how it looks like inside of our platform. So here there is the database with some predictions. I just found them in the internet. It is they are from different fields. I guess that Russian people can find something familiar here. So and the second important content thing in our bot is actually picture. So pельмень picture, and as we do our bot for Alice Yandex, it is important to notice that you cannot load this picture directly to your bot. If you do it for Alice, you just should firstly load this picture to Yandex server. They have special API for this. You can read about this in the documentation on Yandex platform site. So when we load your picture, you give some identification number from this server, and then you use it as the identification for your picture in your bot. So I actually made some preparations, and we also you also need to have some you have some account in Yandex Dialogues. So we have one for our company, and we made a new skill with all the information we need to start it in the application. So this is the name of our skill, that is the example of calling of our skill, webhook from our server, and all other settings. We also passed all the moderation and publication, so we just can load our scenario to our server and we'll get the ready bot. So the thing is just in doing this bot. First of all, I would like to start with scenario file by itself, and I actually made this bot. I'm just going to explain how it works. So first of all, we just make some dependencies. The first dependency is okay.
Is it possible to make a larger font so that you can actually see what you guys are talking about?
I will try.
And while we are at it, why don't you guys use a big screen?
It is impossible.
Okay.
Something goes wrong here. So sorry. First of all, we need to make the dependency with the files we need to make our bot. First thing we need is actually content. It is that CSV dictionary I showed you before. And we did it in this way, and just not to write all this way again and again. Everywhere we need this dictionary, we give the special name for this dictionary. And this file, it is actually, well, it depends. If you like to have some strict structure of your scenario and don't like to have a great number, a lot of code in your scenario file, you can just make some JavaScript file, and there you can write all the functions you are going to use in your scenario, and just make the dependency with this file and use the functions from this file directly like this. So when we have all the dependency, we should write the tag theme and write the common theme of our bot. So common theme of our bot is Fortune Pyramid. It's actually, we need to do it for good structure of bot, and actually sometimes when you have a lot of different themes inside your bot, it is very useful that you can make transition not only in some start state, but start state of skill, but also in some so-called root state of some skill you need to go. So, for example, firstly, we made, of course, in the same way as we did it before in AnyLogic. We need some greeting message, and it is that's all actually what the start state does. We need to just use the tag A. It is just the idea set we used to write on our platform, and there we write the phrase we want to have as a greeting message. It is, hello, would you like to have Fortune Pyramid today? And here the answer on question how we work with context. When you look at this question, you can understand that, well, actually, the usual answer from the user can be yes, okay, let's start, or something like no, I do not want, or something else. I said it before in the first part of our demonstration that sometimes people say some garbage and you cannot predict all the variants. So we have something like this state for actually the garbage. Every reaction we make, just 1 second, I will show one thing here. We need to make some special reactions for every variant of answer. So if there are a lot of different ways to say that I am agree to play with my skill. And actually, not to write all these variants all the time. For example, to say yes, you can say something like this. I will say it in Russia, sorry. Ну, конечно, все вроде, пожалуйста, возможно, да, ага, точно, только можно написать там на английском и так далее. So, all of these are variants for only yes. And it is quite difficult to write all these variants in all states. You need to say, you need to get yes from user request. So we just invent some special model. It is common model. It is used in many projects. And we just, well, make the dependency in, from this file for every our project automatically. And take some common patterns from this model just to use in our variant. So it is one of the way to make the entity in our platform is to use CSV dictionaries. This way I demonstrated in the first part of our demonstration, and actually to make such a pattern is the second variant to make the entity. So we can work with this entity in the same way we did it in the first part of our demonstration. So okay, if the user says something like no, or I don't want to play, and we make the transition to this state no, we should answer something like you're nasty, bye bye. And that's all, because if the person doesn't want to play with us, so what can we do? If the person says something that we cannot understand what is about, we should just say something about, okay, if you don't want to say about admin, you can just close this field, but maybe you just want for last some one prediction. And here the most interesting state, actually what the tag go means. Tag go means that we make some transitions to some of the states. Actually the way of the state is going near to this tag, and there are two variants as far as you can see from this file, to write this tag this way with exclamatory mark and this way without any mark. What's the difference? Actually, sometimes if you write tag go with exclamatory mark, we not only go to some state. In this case, it is state show predictions, but also to play all the logic we have here in this state. And in the variant when the user say yes, we need to play all the logic from show prediction state, because actually it is a state which generates the random prediction, and show this prediction to user. But instead, when we just repeat the answer, repeat the question, maybe you just want to have one prediction. We don't want to repeat also the bot queue. Hi, do you want to have Penman with prediction today? But we need to handle the context after this question in the same way as we did it before in the state start. So we want to be in this state, but don't want to have this answer. What to do? And for this purpose, we use go without exclamatory mark. So it allows us not to repeat all the context handling again and again. We just make this transition to this state, and after this, we are going to expect from our user the same answers: yes, no, catch all. And the reactions for this answer will be the same. So Okay, if our user say agree, yes, we just go to stage of predictions and play all the logic. The logic here is to generate random predictions. For this purpose, we use this function. All this function we can find here. So here we initialize some necessary variable for the work of our platform. In this line, we just take all the range of keys from our dictionary. As far as you may remember, just at the beginning of our demonstration, we gave special name for this dictionary in order to use all these complex ways again and again. So we name it predictions, and we can take all the keys of our we can take the length of our dictionary just in this way. The variable session last index, we need just not to give to the user two similar predictions, one by another. So it is just a variable who stores the last index we used, and variable temp index, it is just the ID of the current prediction we are going to use. Well, here you can see, if you are familiar with JavaScript, I guess it's quite clear what's happened here after you understand what all these variables mean. So we just check if there is current index for choosing predictions, and we check that this index is not equal to last index we use. And if everything is okay, we just choose one of predictions from our dictionary and return it in our function, and the result of this function is stored in the variable session prediction. And after this, we start to call show predictions function and give this variable as the argument to this function. There we go. That is the show predictions function. So this is again all the variables we need to make the logic here in this function. This is the ideal picture I said before we loaded to Yandex server, and this is the special structure which allows us to load the picture with prediction to Alice Yandex. So we just push this object into response. And also, I think it's a good idea here to make the buttons more, just to show to our user that he can say more, another one, something like this, and it will work also in our bot. So, and also for our bot, it's important to have some catch-all state who will take all the garbage, not only in the context of this question, but in the context of all our skill. So if the user says something like, how are you, what's your name, are you beautiful, do you like me, or something like this, we will get into this state. And this state just answer with something like, I would like to speak about this, but I cannot think about anything like aside of beginning. So would you like to know some prediction for now? And again, we will make the transition to start state because the context answers are practically the same. And also the last stage we need to write here, it is the stage stop. Here we use again that buttons from common module. Here we go. There are a lot of ways to stop the game, so we make some special button for this too. And if the user says something like this, we just say goodbye, come for new predictions tomorrow. And actually in the Yandex Alice, there is no possibility to close the skill. So even if our user says stop, it's enough, we can just close our skill, but we have to handle somehow requests that some, I don't know, stupid user can ask us just after he stopped the game. So we made another context catch-all. It allows us to just make the transition to start state and to say that no, we just in this queue and we again say hello to you, and if you want to speak with me, I will say only something about predictions, nothing more. Well, actually that's all about the idea of scenario, and I offer to see how it looks like in actually the application of Yandex Alice. We made a deploy on this channel, and if you have this application, you can just try it on your device, and I will try it online. It looks like this. Запусти навык перемешку с предсказанием. Here we go, our skills is calling. Greeting message. Hello, do you want to... no. Hello, do you want to get fortune telling today? I say, da. And here we can see our picture. Title of our picture is like, well, our map. And some random prediction we get from our dictionary. And we have buttons more, as I said. If we push it, it doesn't understand us. Actually, well, yeah, that is my fault. I just should. Oh, I can handle with it. Actually, we just redeploy our project and it will fix. If, well, while Dasha is deploying, maybe you have any questions.
Is your own language or is it based on JavaScript?
It is actually the language of scenario is our own language, DSA just there. And in the text tree here, we can use just simple JavaScript.
So it's your language and you could call some JavaScript functions from this.
Yep. Or just can write some code right here. As I said before, I just prefer this variant because it looks more strictly, I don't know. It is quite clear what is happening here, and well, more clearly than I just put all these things here and you can read. Okay, we made the deploy again. uh, it can do it again and again, and there are actually 17 new predictions. If you want, you can just try it by yourself today, just now, to get some prediction. But actually, that's all. If you have any questions, I'm ready to answer them.
Do you support nested scenarios and scripts, like when you call one scenario from another and then jump back after it's complete and so on?
All after another?
Okay, if you have one scenario, right, and you want to call another scenario, to go to another scenario.
Yep.
Can you call it from your code point, and when it's complete, you jump back to your code point?
What do you mean by scenario?
Like briefs, yeah. Like you have, for example,
Yes, I get it. They have some work for this, they can go back.
okay,
Right within the skill, so don't mean go
yeah, just within the skill, but
Yes.
like if you ask one question and you want to reply to a question, you can ask like a couple more questions, right? And then jump.
Yep. No, well, actually we can, but it is not here. It is some special syntax. We just need to. If I understand it correctly, it is just something like this tag, and it will allow you to go for some context state only here, not to some other state.
Oh yeah.
Anything you write, even if you don't have control and have only something like hi, and you say something like bye, it will break. It will break.
Okay.
Any questions?
And also, can you make requests to some external APIs, for example?
Yeah, sure.
So you can use all the JavaScript capabilities.
You wasn't here in the first part, yeah?
Yeah.
I showed it in the first part. Actually, we have another product, AnyLogic. It is much simpler than our platform, and it is like visual programming. So you just use some blocks to build your bot. And even in this simplified variant of our platform, we have API calling. So here we have API calling also, but I just think that we showed it before.
Okay. And so do you have some maybe pre-trained models for generating responses for specified responses?
Well, yes, we have some, but there are very few of them. For example, well, a lot of people in a lot of projects, they ask some common questions like, how are you, what is your name, or something like this. And, well, it's quite simple to make some template for these variants. So, well, we have so-called off-topic scenario, who can, for example, if the user asks something like, what is your name? We can push the name of our the name of our robot. Well, they answer something like, my name is, and there everybody just puts some name he wants for his project. Okay.
JavaScript is the only language that you guys support as a code behind? Or
Yes.
so it's not possible to use Python or C# or Java?
No, you should learn JavaScript to do it on our platform.
I see. how, also one more question, is it possible to use this language and this approach to work not with the system, but with, not exactly with alias, but maybe with other systems?
Yeah, we deploy it in different channels, and I guess we made some deploy in Google Assistant, if I'm not mistaken. So, something like this. We deployed it in Telegram. Of course, we Facebook, Contacte, and all the social networks. Of course, we need to make some changes and adapt our scenarios for specific channel. But actually, we can make the bot for every channel practical for every for all.
Okay.
At least. If there are no questions, I guess that's all. If any questions will appear, I'm here. I'm ready to answer. Thank you very much for coming.